Yo, web development is hard, okay? It is hard as I hear all these people saying,
Hey, you can pick up web development in a weekend. Hey, you can learn HTML in 1 day, CSS in 2 days.
and like that's total shit. Cause you can't just learn HTML in 1 day. You can't just learn CSS in 2 days. Now, don't get me wrong. You can't learn HTML in 1 day, but you only be able to do the most basic of things. Okay, it takes time, lots and lots of time. Have you ever looked at CSS? That's hard. Now, many people get these misconceptions from sites like WordPress or Squarespace. Those sites are idiots. I'm just kidding. I have nothing against those sites. But my point is, web development is not as easy as people make it. Okay, it takes time and effort. Now, I was going into this adventure thinking, oh, this just be a quick one. I'll learn HTML, CSS, some JavaScript, make a cool ass website, and earn some dough. Right? Wrong. I was so wrong. When I first started learning HTML, it was quite easy. I went on YouTube, picked up Travis Media, and like I started watching the video. It was pretty easy. I followed it, and it was like in an hour. I was making cool markup stuff, text, images, videos on websites. Like that was awesome. But I came to CSS, and this is where my real web development adventure started. I started learning CSS, and like I didn't like it at all. Okay, I didn't like it one bit. But like I had to learn it to style shit. So I'm learning this, and like it's going pretty great. I can change background color. I can change text color. I can like add padding and shit to things. I can like give it margin and whatever. And that was fine. That was fine. That was okay. But it took a long time to get used to. Okay, it took about a week to just get comfortable enough to like start writing things to like properties. But like it took another month or two to finally be able to like code websites properly. Okay, and I'm still a really bad designer, so I can't just like whip up the good design for a site. So that just doesn't work. All right. Now, JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript is the main point of web development. All right, you can have your HTML, your CSS, but like that shit won't do nothing without JavaScript. All right. Now I enter learning JavaScript. All right, I just Google it, learn JavaScript. Okay, the first video that comes up, obviously Travis Media, and like this is my guy, so I click on his video, I watch it through and through, and like it's easy to understand. I get the basics, I get the concepts down, and I'm like, okay, good, I'm ready. Now what? Like I'm just bluntly staring at my computer. I'm just like, now what? I know freaking JavaScript, but like, what do I use it for? Anything I think of making, I can already make with HTML and CSS. I can add videos to my website. I can style them whichever way I want. Why the do I need JavaScript? Then, then it hit me. I was designing sites only for desktop. Totally random, but like that's the way I found myself with JavaScript. Okay, so I'm like, okay, well, screw JavaScript. I'm just gonna learn responsive web design now. And so I started learning all this CSS and shit. And like, I'm trying out mobile view, and I'm like, damn, that nav bar, it looks way too big to fit on a phone. So I'm like, okay, let me program my own nav bar. And I have my elements. Then I'm like, okay, so I need the freaking title to be in the center of the freaking navbar, and I need it to have an hamburger button which you can click, and it to like give you everything, all the contents of the navbar. Right? And that was easy. I know. I did that. I created the center text. I added the hamburger, and I'm like, wait, how do I how do I add the elements now? How do I make it that when I click this button, it will bring up these things? And I'm like, oh, event listeners. I had to go back to JavaScript, and like it has been like a few months now, and I've forgotten everything. So I rewatched Travis Media's video, and I'm back again. I'm full force. I learned JavaScript. I'm like, all right, okay. So I add a freaking event listener to this button, and when I click this button, I wanted to wait. Now what? I'm like, oh shit. Now I have to interact with CSS still. I'm like, okay. I style the freaking thing for mobile, and then like I give it a specific class. When that class is turned on, what happened? Okay, I'm like, oh, okay, I do this, all right. I make it. It wasn't so hard, and I create this. I click a freaking button. It adds a class to an element, and like it styles it according to the CSS of that class, right? Easy. Not so easy. Creating a nav bar is fucking hard, okay? You have a lot of things to work with there. First of all, how the fuck are you supposed to align everything when it's already aligned in desktop view? But how can you convert it to mobile view? And how can you like make it be desktop and only appear mobile when it is mobile? Media queries. I hate media queries. Why? I have no fucking clue. The first time I heard media queries was in a video by David, who I'm sure most of you know because he's a fucking guy. He's a funny guy. Okay. So I watched his video and like I'm seeing all these media queries and I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that shit. But I just had to. Okay, there was no other way. I had to. And so media queries weren't really that bad. I learned them in a day and I was making mobile shit. I made my navbar, and like that was cool and all. And I created my site. My site works perfectly. Nothing's wrong with the site. Everything's awesome. But then I'm like, huh, how cool would it be if I could sign in to my own site and make changes inside? And I'm just like blown at this point. Because I have no idea where to even begin. JavaScript again, and like I'm hit with all this information. I have to have a fucking backend. I have to have a database of shit to store information and data. Oh, backend? Oh no problem. Just learn Express JavaScript. Just learn Express JavaScript, no JS. I'm like, okay, I can probably do that. What about databases? Google is just like,
Yo, my dude, learn MongoDB. You'll be all good, bro.
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds okay. I've never heard of that shit, but it's a good. I can probably learn it. And boom, it just shows out of nowhere the freaking MERN stack. I'm like, oh, this seems like a really cool thing to learn. I'm like, what the is MERN? And I read about it. It's development stack of React, MongoDB, Express JS, and Node.js. And like that's okay, I know. But like out of all of them, I know none. Alright? So I'm like, okay, probably the first thing I should do is learn React. And like that was easy. I just googled learn React, and the first thing that brought up was the React documentation, and I started reading it, and it is dog shit. And I don't mean the documentation is hard or bad. I just mean it is just not my type of content. Okay, it's just so much information, and like I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing with all that information. So I'm like, okay, maybe following a course will be much easier. And I go on Code Academy and I pick up the Learn React course. I start following it. By 3 days, I already got like basic information down in React. I'm like, okay, I feel I'm good. I go to YouTube. I watch an entire playlist by David explaining React, and like I feel pretty confident at this point. I'm like, okay, now a I have to create a to-do app because apparently we just have to do that every single time we're learning React. Don't ask me questions. Okay, and now I'm thinking, okay, to do app. It doesn't seem too hard. Doesn't have a lot of things. Okay, so I start creating. Okay, I have my HTML. I write it. Okay, I have my input field, my text, and the buttons. Right now, I'm lost again. I need to get shit I type in here be put in this block and continue adding more stuff to that block and remove it when I hit a certain button and add it when I hit a certain button. And now I'm thinking maybe React is bit complicated. I start relearning everything. I'm more hours and hours of content and I'm just not grasping React. React is not easy. It is quite hard. my own opinion. But I have made it a challenge to learn React in this month. I will have my React skills down and I'll create this stupid to do app. So that's my month like. That's what I'm gonna be doing. Don't forget to subscribe or whatever. And don't forget to tell your friend about the greatest programmer ever! Because that's me. I'm the greatest programmer ever. Bye.
Thank you very much for watching. Most of the things I said in this video weren't really intended to be taken seriously. It was just my mind going crazy, and
Most of the things aren't really true. But either way, it was really fun making this video. And I just want to say thanks to my friend Aisha for drawing me. She's really awesome. She's amazing. Her art is just top notch. I mean, can you see how awesome I look? I mean, she brought me to life, yo. So thanks a lot, Aisha.